pointed in or it's the highest in the air, and that is the dagger or the royal tide, and that's their weapon. That's the one they use for fighting.
Oh. Do they ever bother the horses? Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to change your subject.
No, it's fine. Sometimes. We can talk about that in a minute. What comes off behind that are called Sir Royals, and this bull has got numbers 1 and 2. So he is a perfect 6-point. A 6-point bull gets a special name. He's called a royal. If this bull would grow another point back there, at least an inch, it has to be at least an inch long to count it as a point and come off the main beam. But that would be a 7-point if you had them on both sides. And that's an imperial. And 8 points would be a monarch. So I'm counting the first 4, and then they can get 4 off of the back. That's in a normal set of antlers. Now, some of you, I'm sure, have seen antlers with more than 8 points or unusual looking antlers, and those are just called non-typical. We had one non-typical on our feed ground, and he was a 6'9". He threw out points all over on that one side. But it's kind of interesting because that bull 2 years before that, he was a perfect 7-point. And yeah, he would. If anybody was here in the 90s. Is anybody out here in the 90s? Nobody. Okay.
No.
He was here in the 90s. The late 90s is when he was here. We called him the Ghost. But when he was a 7-point, he had a very slight hip injury. He'd been a herd bull. He was pretty thin, like this bull was. But anyway, he'd been here since he was a calf. He definitely knew where the feed ground was. But when he was a 7-point, he had that hip injury. The next year, when he came in, we didn't recognize him, and we had to get out all of our pictures. And we had to cover up antlers and look at the shape of his body and his head and everything else to figure out who he was. Because he was only a 5x6. And that was the year that we found out that the body first has to heal itself, and what's left over goes into antlers. So he had a much smaller set. Next year, he was all healed up, and he was a 6x9. That was his non-typical year.
I'll be darned.
Threw out points everywhere on that one antler. And the last year he was here, he was a 6x7 and he had a more normal looking set of antlers.
Yes. Interesting.
Do you know how they weight the antler configuration for B and C scoring?
Oh, for Boone Crockett?
Yeah.
No. I'm not very good at it. The only thing maybe somebody else is